Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Josh Carter, the body and life transformation expert. I hope you're doing great today. Today's video is a little bit more on the ranty side. It will likely be an unpopular opinion and will most likely lose me some followers, but somehow I'll manage to power through. I'll break out the tissues and wipe away my tears, but don't worry about me. I'll be all right. So here's the deal. I am so sick and tired of people validating and justifying the dad bod. People treating it like a joke, and it is really, really doing yourself, if you're one of those people, a disservice, and doing a disservice to your children, our entire country for that matter. And so I want to talk about it and kind of why we shouldn't make a joke out of what a dad body is, what it represents, how it affects ourselves, our family, our children, our spouses, and kind of health in our country overall. Because it's a big deal, okay? And there's a couple things I want to point out. One, I am not perfect. I never have been. I never will be. I'm not sitting up here on my high horse. My horse used to be a lot lower, let me assure you. And I used to justify a lot of the bullshit that I'm about to talk to you about. Because at one point I was up near 300 pounds and saying, dad bod at the time wasn't a saying, but it was, oh, I'm lifting heavy, bro, or I'm in a bulking phase or whatever. And I was coaching people too, but I wasn't being authentic. I wasn't kind of living up to the promise that I made to myself, nor to my kids. And I'll get to that in a minute. And I found myself misaligned. What I was saying, what I was doing, what I was thinking, what I was hoping, I was dreaming, they were not aligned. My kind of efforts were in one direction and my words were in another. And that's not cool. So again, I have been in that position, right? And so I get it, but that justification is literally deadly. Okay, so that's the first thing that I wanted to point out. The second thing, and this is a little bit comical. Literally, if you go and do an image search on dad bod, my photo comes up. True story. You can go there right now. It's there. Thankfully, it's one of the after photos. It's a blog post from a buddy of mine. And so it was kind of disconcerting when he said, "Hey, dude, go search dad bod." Your picture comes up. I was like, "Oh shit!" And I looked at yeah. So there I was. All right. So let's get into it a little bit. I will make a joke out of almost anything. I find humor to really kind of get me through my day, get me through my life. I'm high on the sarcasm scale. So I get making things funny, but there's certain things that really it's okay to make a joke out of them on a surface level, but we need to dive a little bit deeper, because a dad bod is not a joke. Okay. Obesity, let's talk, let me backtrack a little bit. Let's talk about some obesity rates, overweight and obesity rates here in the United States. In the United States currently, depending on what statistics you look at, 70% of the population is overweight or obese. 70% of the population is overweight or obese. 36%, again, the statistics vary depending on which study you're looking at, 36% are obese. And that's defined by BMI. And yes, we can all agree BMI is not the best measure. It's just the easiest. So, okay, but let's just all agree it isn't good and it isn't getting any better. As a matter of fact, it's getting significantly worse as time goes on. And an interesting side note is that our obesity rates, again, this data is a little bit old, but our obesity rates and overweight rates are almost double what they are in the rest of the world. All right, the graphic here I'll throw up is, I think it shows 66% is the US. Now we've gotten a little bit higher, and the rest of the world is about half that. And with the kids, it's the same thing, 29%, and the rest of the world 14. This is not good, okay? And the reality is that obesity, depending again on the statistics you look at, I know statistics can be misleading and misinterpreted, but the reality is obesity and being overweight is the number one, number two contributor to death in our countries. You don't technically die from being overweight. I mean, I guess you could, but that's not really the problem. You die from the complications that being overweight presents. So, being overweight this one's blew me away. Being overweight can contribute to mortality on the order of as much as 91%. 91%. So that means if you have a predisposition for heart disease, cancer, stroke, any of those major diseases, diabetes, all those things, your risk of dying is increased significantly when you're overweight. We saw that a lot in COVID. People who got COVID and were significantly overweight died at a much higher rate. I don't have the stats off the top of my head, but let me assure you, it wasn't good. So when people say, oh, he's got a dad bod, that's so funny. It isn't. It isn't funny, because how funny will your kids think it is when you're, in your casket and they're like, oh, but his dad bod, that sure was hilarious, the way he joked about being overweight and obese. That was great. It's not funny. And they always say it's never too late. Let me assure you, at some point, it's too late. There are people in hospitals right now hooked up to tubes and wires and all that shit, and it is too late. They can't do anything about their health at this point. They just got their fingers crossed that modern medicine will help them pull through. Right? So when they say it's never too late, no, it is. So let me implore you to get off your ass and do something about it while it is your choice, because at some point it will not be your choice. At some point, this will not be your choice. And right now it is. Okay, and I'll talk about some specifics about what it is you can do. The number one thing you need to do, I would argue, number one, literally, is to not think of dad bod as a joke. Meaning, if you are overweight and or obese, which, by the way, I guess I should have said this earlier, is defined by, they use BMI, and BMI of 25, and basically BMI is just height divided by weight, or other way around, weight divided by height. And if your score is between 25 to 30, you're considered overweight. Over 30 is considered obese. Again, it's not a perfect measure. It doesn't take into account literally body fat percentage, meaning the percentage of your actual body that is actually fat. That's just hard to study, right? So they just use that. Prime example is I would be considered obese if you only use that statistic, because I carry a lot of muscle, but my body fat percentage is in the single digit. You can see a six pack and all the things. So technically I'm not obese unless you look at the BMI. Anyway, the obesity rates obviously contribute to everything negative that I've just talked about. And so what we need to do is attend to that. So the number one thing you need to do is, again, take it seriously. Acknowledge this isn't a joke. Have the awareness to know that this is something you need to take care of, and then start taking affirmative action. Now let's talk about how it affects your kids. Having a dad bod can negatively affect your kids. I had this awakening about 10 years ago. Again, dad bod wasn't a term at the time. But here's as a parent, I've got two boys, currently 17 and 21. And as a parent, we all hope that our children learn what we teach them. We want them to be good people. We want them to do well in school, all of those things, right? And so we try to teach them those traits. Regardless of what we try to teach them, they will definitely learn what we show them. They hopefully learn what we teach. They will definitely learn what we show. If we show them that being overweight, unhappy, unconfident, being unhealthy is a joke, that eating fast food on the regular is an okay thing to do, that is what they're going to learn. That is what they're going to learn. And my awakening was about, again, 10 years ago, when I looked in the mirror, closing in on 300 pounds. And I thought to myself, if my sons look in the mirror at my age and see this type of reflection looking back at them, I will have done them a disservice. How dare I do that to them? So at that point, I started to be more integral, keep my promises to myself so that I could be a better parent to them. Again, I'm not perfect. I joke that I've got two funds for my kids, one's for college and one's for therapy, because they're going to need it. But at least in the health area, I got it pretty dialed in. It's not all about how you look. It's not about being pretty and having the six pack, although they're young and that's kind of where they're skewing, and that's fine. But overall, it's about how you feel, how healthy you are, and the lifestyle that you choose to follow, right? And prioritizing your health needs to be part of that. So as a parent, it is, again, incumbent upon us to be the inspiration our children deserve. Are we going to get it right all the time? Of course not. We will mess it up time and time again. But we have to keep striving to be the best version of ourselves on a daily basis that we possibly can be, so that we can be the inspiration that they deserve. In all areas, I would argue. I just happen to be pretty good at this one particular area. Not so great at others. I'm working on it. Okay? So Um, that's pretty much what I wanted to cover as far as not making the dad bod a joke. It's not a joke. Again, your health is not a joke. Showing your kids that being unhealthy is normal, not a joke. You know, and this is for the dads, but the same is true for the moms. I guess mom bod isn't really a term, but still same thing, right? Um, the better you the better you look, the better you feel. And the opposite is true. The better you feel, the better you're going to look. The more confidence that you're going to have, your relationships will get better. You will make more money. You'll get that promotion at work. If you're an entrepreneur, guess what? The inspirations will come. Okay, you will see opportunity around every corner. The better you feel about yourself, the more you take care of yourself. A lot of people say, I don't have time. That's bullshit. Yes, you do. Again, a statistic recently showed the average American watches 2 to 3 hours of television per day. So don't tell me you don't have time. Yes, there's the 1% of the people who go, oh, I got 2 jobs and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Well, you know what? Most of us can take the time to get to the gym, to work out at home, to meal prep, to actually spend some time being intentional about our health and not just kind of doing things accidentally. We have to be intentional. So let's talk about what we can do to combat the dad bod. Again, the first thing is understanding it's not a joke. This is something you want to take seriously. You want to be the inspiration your children deserve, and you need to do something about it. The more time you spend on yourself, the more of you there is to give to others. It's like they talk about being on the plane and the oxygen masks come down in an emergency. You got to put yours on first so that you can help others. How are you going to help anybody else if you're passed out? So how are you going to authentically help your kids be their best version if you're not being your best version, or at least attempting to be your best version, right? Putting in the effort. So be aware that this is a thing and start being intentional about how it is you live your life and the choices that you make. So that's going to include working out. Do you need to go to a gym? No. You like riding a bike? Go ride a bike. You like walking around your block? Do that. Movement, mandatory. How you move, got a lot of options, but movement is absolutely mandatory. Things like, I mean, I track my steps. I work at a desk like a lot of us, but I track my steps. I try to get around 10,000 a day. Sometimes I hit it, sometimes I don't, but I always strive to do that. Movement is key. Do I think the gym is a great option? I absolutely do. Does that mean you have to do it? Absolutely not. But if you can commit to 3 times a week, 20 to 30 minutes of dedicated activity of whatever it is you like, that'll make a huge difference. What makes a bigger difference? What you choose to eat. A lot of people think, especially guys, oh, I just need to get back in the gym. That's bullshit. It's not true. I don't want to hear that you bench 315 in high school. I don't give a shit, right? You're 40, 50 pounds overweight. Nobody gives a shit what you did 30 years ago in the gym. The gym is about 10, 15, 20% of your success. 80, 90% comes from what you put in your mouth. So what are we going to do there? I firmly believe, and I think this is true of most coaches across the board, most people don't get enough protein. Whether you're a vegan or a carnivore or keto or whatever, most of us agree that you're not getting enough protein based upon your goals. If your goal is to, again, be lean, be healthy, support your muscle mass, have healthy joints, things like that, most people aren't getting enough protein. So focus on protein. Lots of vegetables. Have at it. Have at it with those vegetables. I tend to skew more low carbohydrate. I find that works very well for me, mediates my hunger, keeps me satiated throughout the day. So I tend to skew low carb. Watch the carbs, man. Just watch them. Keep them lower. Like I talked to a guy the other day who said, he starts his day off with a bowl of oatmeal, and then he has like a big thing of pasta for lunch or whatever. Sometimes that's for dinner. And so it was like carbohydrates after carbohydrates after carbohydrates with very, very minimal protein. We swapped the macronutrient ratios. Now he's getting more protein and less carbs, and the weight is falling off, and he's feeling a hell of a lot better about himself. So that's huge. So keep the carbs low, keep the protein high. A good rule of thumb here is to eat about 1 gram of protein per pound of desired body weight. So if you're weighing 250 right now and you think to yourself, I should weigh 200, try to get about 200 grams of protein per day. Same holds true for females as well. Don't worry about the calories initially. I'm not saying calories are not important, because they absolutely are. We need to create that caloric deficit. But guess what? When you prioritize that protein, keep your carbs low, keep the fat moderate, the calories tend to drop anyway, especially when you couple it with emotion, right? The daily movement. So when you do those things, up the protein, lower the carbs, and move consistently, your life is going to change. Now, the most important thing. So while I say it's like 10% training, 90% nutrition, whatever, 10, 20, 80, 90, it is 100% mindset. 100% mindset. I love, there's a quote by Jack Sparrow, and I'm probably going to mess it up, but the problem isn't the problem is how you think about the problem, right? And so how you think will determine your actions, and your actions will determine your results. Higher level thoughts leads to higher level actions, leads to higher level results. Lower level thoughts leads to lower level actions, leads to lower level results. So think about things, think about your life, think about your vision, what motivates you, what inspires you, what are you committed to? You have to be committed. Committed means doing it anyway, regardless of convenience or mood. What are you committed to? And when you commit, you do it anyway, right? And when you do it enough times, then it becomes the habit. Once it's a habit, it's almost effortless. It's like brushing your teeth. You don't have to, get up and, oh, I'm super motivated to brush my teeth today. No, it's just what you do because it's your habit. And health, fitness, the way you think, the way you live, how you feel about yourself, those can all be habituated, meaning you can create habits out of them. One of my coaches once told me something that I literally repeat to myself on a daily basis. We don't get what we want in life. We don't. We get our habits. If you don't have what you want, you have to reverse engineer. Take a look at your habits. Okay, these habits need to go. I need to create new ones. What are you committed to? What are you committed to? Recommit to actions that serve you, that give you where you want to go. Before that, we need to be motivated. Motivation wanes, so don't rely on motivation. That's very temporary, but use that as a jumping off point. And prior to that, we have inspiration. So something was inspiring you. Hopefully, maybe something like this. Maybe you saw a picture of somebody, wow, they're my age and they look that great and they used to look like me and now I can do that too. Freaking awesome. Whatever you need to do, be inspired, be motivated, commit, then create the habits. That's all a mindset flow to get you to do what you need to do, because be clear here, you can't outperform yourself. It's like New Year's resolution people. They're super motivated there for 2 weeks or 3 weeks max, and then I don't remember what the stats are, but 95% of people quit within the first 3 weeks or something like that. It's because they're not attending to who they needed to be. They're only attending to what they needed to do. So be the person that is committed, and once you are that person, doing the do is super easy because it's who you are. It's easy to do what you are. It's impossible to do what you're not. At least it's impossible to do in the long term. So I hope all that makes sense. So again, stop thinking the dad bod is a joke. It is not. It is not. Okay. You deserve better. Your family deserves better. And it is something you can achieve. You are absolutely capable of having whatever it is you want in life when you commit to it, because you are not only capable, you are deserving and you are worthy. When you believe those things, making it happen becomes super, super easy. And to that end, I've got something for you. So if you comment on this video, or even just shoot me a DM, whether you've seen this on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you've seen it, shoot me a DM or comment on the post and use the word ignite, or just say, hey, I'd like to see the Ignition Academy blueprint. It is a step-by-step process of everything you need to do, how to break down your macronutrients, how to exercise, how to increase your mindset. I didn't really say that right. How to create a bulletproof mindset that absolutely will deliver you to the vision that you have for yourself and your optimal self. You can have whatever you want when you believe. I know that sounds stupid. I got my belief sign right over there. Ted Lasso. Great show. But it has to start with belief. If you don't believe in yourself and that you're worthy and that you're capable, you'll screw it up. You'll self-sabotage. I've done it a million times. You probably have too. But when you believe you can do it, and believe you will do it, and believe you deserve to do it, the world is your oyster, my friend. Have at it. Have at it. Okay, so again, comment, DM, shoot me a message, whatever you want. Ignition Academy Blueprint, step-by-step guides to get you where you want to go. And again, just treat yourself with respect, because you deserve it. Your kids deserve it. Your spouse, your partner, whoever, they deserve it as well. All right, you have any other questions, you let me know. Have a good one.